The curse of loving someone, but they already love someone else, is the worst curse of all. Not even a king can be spared. The once prideful king had everything the world had to offer. The finest clothes, the tastiest food, the sturdiest weapons. Money could buy anything. That was what he had thought until he met a young violinist. She was beautiful, but her talent with the violin was even more so. It was said she could perfectly convey emotions through her violin. It's not always easy to describe deep sadness or overwhelming joy, but she could describe them without words. She moved many people to tears, including the prideful king. Enamored by her music, the king declared that she would live at the palace forever. It was a dream for so many women. Any woman who lived at the palace would be showered with jewels, silk clothes, and tasty treats. But upon the king's declaration, the violinist picked up her violin and played a song filled with sadness. The king became angry and demanded for her to explain herself, only to be met with a song full of regret. No matter how beautiful she or her music was, the king refused to be ridiculed, so he took away her violin and tossed her into the dungeons. She wouldn't be allowed to leave until she showed him respect and gratitude. Days passed, then weeks. The violinist didn't say a word. Just as the king's patience was growing thin, a friend of the violinist came forward and said, "Your Majesty, please be merciful when I say that I have never heard my friend speak. She communicates to us through her violin. If you wish to hear what she has to say, then please give her her voice back." It was true. The king himself hadn't ever heard her speak. So the king grabbed her violin and went to the dungeons where the violinist waited. As soon as the violin was back in her hands, she played a song full of regret. It was a slow and almost haunting song, yet it was still so beautiful. The king realized he had missed her music terribly and promised to give her the best room in the palace and anything she could ever want as long as she stayed by his side. But just like before, the violinist played a sad song upon hearing his words. The king didn't understand. He was willing to give her anything. There was nothing in this world that she couldn't have, yet she didn't want any of it. The king thought long and hard about what would cause her to sacrifice an opportunity like this. There was only one reason that came to mind: love. She already loved someone else. When the king went to confirm his suspicions, she played the most beautiful song he had ever heard. It brought forward some of his favorite memories, many of them from his childhood when he was loved and cherished. There was also an unmistakable smile on the violinist's face as she played. And even though she played expressing her love for someone else, the king refused to let her go. After hearing such a beautiful song, he decided that he couldn't live without it. He forced the violinist to live at the palace and to play her violin for him. But no matter his orders or threats, she would only play songs of sadness and heartbreak. Every time she played, her music dampened the king's mood and everyone else's in the palace. No one could do their jobs properly because of their tears and the heaviness in their chests. Not wanting the palace to be affected anymore, and having missed her beautiful music of love, the king focused on winning the violinist's heart. If she could fall in love with him, then she would forget about the other person she was in love with. He presented her with bouquets of flowers and elegant dinners, but these didn't work. So he bought the sweetest chocolates, the most elaborate dates inside and outside the palace, the construction of a special room for her to play her violin. Her heart still didn't waver. Months passed, then years. The violinist continued to play sad music. The king finally gave up. He realized money couldn't buy everything. For the rest of his reign, the king listened to the violinist's sad music, wishing to hear her beautiful love song one more time. He never did.